And go.
Ooh. Hello, Jesters universe. It's a dark and stormy night here in Redlands, California, and I'm coming to you from the Redlands house itself. It's practically like the Haunted Mansion. That's right, I'm not even in Vegas, folks, but welcome to the Jester Recap. It's week 7 in High School Jesters 12th season, and it's all digital as always, but we're here to break down exactly what happened on the shows. And we just got this awesome announcement that I'm sure Kopy's going to recap as soon as we welcome him in. So let's go ahead and bring in the King Kopy himself. Here he is. It's Kopy.
What's up, y'all?
Yo, Kopy. For those of us who missed it, tell us what's going on with the big news you released just earlier this week.
Yeah, very simply, Championship Day is going to happen in person. So, yep.
So excited.
There of course are circumstances and guidelines and whatnot. And I think even some of those guidelines may have improved because today the governor came out with more basically easier restrictions, or he's lessened the restrictions. So I should find out this week even an updated head count and things that we can do. So Championship Day is going to happen in person Saturday, May 8th at a place called The Space. That's the name of it, The Space.
Awesome. Yep.
We're going to put out plenty of things for everyone to see and watch for, but what I want people to start doing, or what I want the students to start doing, is start thinking, man, like, I want to be in that. Yeah. So if you make it to the championship, you get to play in person. Mm-hmm. If you're your team's all-star, you get to play in person because there's an all-star show that day. Yep. Anyone who's nominated for an award, you get to be there that day. Audience members, so on. So even if somehow you aren't in the mix of what I just said, there are going to be seats available, and we're figuring that all out right now to be COVID compliant. So yeah, super excited. I am working on the possibility of another date in person. Maybe if we did like the Final Four kind of thing in person.
Oh, awesome.
We're just not there yet. So
okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you felt at least comfortable to drop it in case it's like going to be a thing.
I mean, right now with Championship Day, that's already the biggest victory I think we can ask for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anything else is bonus at this point.
100%. And, it's been an amazing year watching all the schools band together and put out content week in and week out. Guys, we're already 1 week away from the end of the season. So get your week 8 content recorded and sent into Kopy. It's very important that we start marching towards those playoffs. So hopefully you kids are thinking about it. But
this is Coach Song next to me. Coach Song also works on staff because with playoffs coming next week, I mean, the amount of work we're trying to get done. So she's going to sit here and literally work this entire recap next to me as we're trying to do everything. So even taking time out for this recap's a lot because of how much we got to do. So we're just going to keep rocking, and maybe she'll even chime in and show her face every once in a while.
Oh, why are you picking your nose, son?
A lot of work.
Well, we sure are grateful to the entire Jester staff, of course. I feel almost, bad for being out of town. Forgive me. But hopefully you don't mind that we just jump right into our games from a hat, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. I've got all of the games listed out on a randomizer in my phone, guys. So with the touch of the button, I'm going to find out which games is going to kick us off. And bam, it's shuffling. And how about ATEC and Pahrump? Speaking of Coach Song, let's start off with ATEC and Pahrump this week.
All right, got you. So let's start with Pahrump. We finally got to get Ryan in another show.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Ryan in another show where his camera worked. And
always a plus.
Yeah, I get what Coach Alex says about Ryan as far as just being excited to work with him and his enthusiasm. And he's got some natural quirkiness that I think fits perfectly with this. They played the miming game. They did Chain Murder. So they did Chain Murder where he had just a lot of very natural ways of gibberish and I mean, he's new, so he's only going to know so much, but there was just some very natural things about it that really excited me. You've got your siblings, which I'm pretty sure have been in every show for them with Jackson and Juliet, and it just
that matters too.
It does, and any time you can sprinkle some talent dust on top of a core, it just makes it better.
Good.
They got
Talent
it.
dust.
Yeah,
That's a
a good
term I've
thing.
not heard in Jesters before.
Talent dust? What? That's a technical term.
I need to find whatever fairy provides that. Is it Alex Keene? Because I can catch that fairy.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. I'm coming for you, Keene.
Jackson and Juliet, I taught them how to play haiku battle a week or two ago.
Oh, interesting.
Because to me, they're two siblings who are really intelligent, and I thought could really get the concept down. So I taught just the two of them, and found a little bit of comfort in it before we called it. But they ended up playing number of words, and I saw them in this week's playing number of words, taking some of the notes I gave them from haiku battle, and actually using it and trying to help get that scene moving and move it forward. So
wow.
That's one of the benefits for sure of just those two and how they think about things and how much I like those siblings.
That's cool to me, dude.
Yep.
Poetry is hard, says I. This game would be tough.
Very good. Yep.
Thanks. I worked on it.
That's a haiku, and yeah, haiku battle's a game we haven't seen in Jesters, but it is something that exists. So
super cool.
Yep. You flip it over to ATEC.
Sure.
ATEC has been just this train going down the tracks for a couple of years now, and this week is no exception. So they played this week. They played Jonathan, Savannah, Devin, and Nick, which is just a ton of energy and a ton of power.
Oh yeah.
I think Devin's kind of been slowly reminding the league all year of what Devin can do.
Sure.
Nick kind of came in with this natural goofiness when we met Nick originally last year, because Nick was new last year. So kind of that natural energy. And what was really cool to watch this week was Jonathan and Savannah together. I think they bring the best out of each other. I really do. Jonathan already is a monster, but man, it almost was like every time Savannah said something or did something or made a facial expression, Jonathan was able to react with almost the perfect topping. It was almost like Savannah was Jonathan's trigger, and it was just so neat to watch all show long. The game that stands out in my mind the most is Newscaster. So Savannah was a field reporter, but not knowing what she was reporting on.
Figures.
Okay. So Jonathan and Nick were news anchors giving hints to Savannah on what she was reporting on. Now, the funny part of this story is that the video that was suggested to ATEC, no one actually watched the video. So there's a video that plays in the show over the top of the game, which is the video that the three boys were giving suggestions to Savannah for.
Right, cueing them.
But they never actually watched it. So
how on earth did this serendipitously work?
So they took what they learned what the title of the video was, and that's all they had.
Right.
Which makes it even harder going down the line to Savannah for Savannah to figure it out. And Savannah was like so cool, like cool as the other side of the pillow cool. Just, I mean, like microphone flip, like it was like just went for it. And then even just that back and forth with Jonathan. So kind of cool. Like it was really cool to see that. So I mean, ATEC just keeps doing what they're doing. So
hey, a quadruple blind game is really hard to fake your way through. So good job, everybody, for improvising your way through that situation. I bet you it was probably really hilarious for all involved just to experience that.
I mean, that didn't phase them one bit. They're just like, we got a title, we're fine, let's go.
And that's the definition of an improv team that's ready for playoffs. So have your eye on ATEC. If they can just, play their way through that, then I'm down. Let me hit my randomizer button if you're ready, Kopy.
Yep.
That's the sound of randomization. And that's, how about Desert Pines and Legacy?
Yep.
Go for it.
You literally picked in order the two shows that were in my note piles.
I'm happy for you that I can make it convenient.
Yeah, just keep on that.
Okay.
So this was a very comedy sports show. So let me give a plug for the comedy sports family and brethren.
Do it. Yeah.
Comedy Sports is it's a worldwide company that has improv clubs in different cities largely in North America, but in other cities in the world as well. Comedy Sports is where I started. So that's where I first learned improv, almost 20 years ago now. Yeah, right. So
I know.
there is now a comedy sports club here in Las Vegas that's head up by our coach from Legacy, and Cimarron. He coaches both schools and has been with us ever since he moved here to Vegas. And Coach Alex, who's the coach of Desert Pines, so the show we're talking about right now is Legacy versus Desert Pines. Coach Alex is also a performer with Comedy Sports. So this whole show was comedy sports style games and thought processes and everything, which is kind of cool. So we got to see Battleship by both teams.
Wonderful.
We got to see What You Got. We got to see a complete slant to Scenes from a Hat. So here, let me start with Legacy. First, Gigi, this was definitely your best show. I love the hair, but man, it was, the comfort you had today, or in this week, the comfort you had, that showed me that even in this short period of time of being a rookie, because you're a rookie this year, that you're getting something out of this. So really cool. Lindsay as well. So Lindsay, you're kind of more on the scene work side of improv. We all have sides, we all have things, and I think you're more on the scene work side of it, and you just help keep some glue together. When you've got Crazy Alex next to you, Crazy Alex is, to me, like you pull the pin of the grenade and then whatever happens. That's kind of what Alex is. Alex is the grenade after it explodes. And that's kind of what Alex provides for you. So they did their challenge from me was deleted scenes. That was my legacy, one of my legacy challenges.
Fun.
They didn't do deleted scenes the way me and you were thinking about it. They did Scenes from a Hat, where Justin gave them movies, the suggested movies, and they did a bunch of deleted scenes from a Hat style.
That's kind of fun and creative. Good job, team.
Yep, just boom, 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 just a ton of them.
Nice.
Which was kind of neat. So I'm all for that kind of brain power behind working games. So then flip over to Desert Pines. This was kind of neat. We got a first timer in the Desert Pines show.
In week 7, that's awesome.
Yeah, in week 7, which I'm always for.
Always happy to see.
Yep, and with Desert Pines, all the rest, the other regular 4 worked their way in, even though we had the newbie. And then even they got a game of What You Got. Now, Coach Alex coaches Desert Pines and Pahrump.
Right.
He recorded both shows back to back. So he did Pahrump first and then Desert Pines, which we just talked about. So he had Pahrump come into Desert Pines, and they got to do a full head-to-head What You Got.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which was also cool to see.
That's the goal. Yeah.
With a first timer, they played What You Got with a first timer. Warren, this is going to blow your mind when I say this, but this year, 7 weeks in, we haven't played one to do rap. Right? Not one.
It's just the sign of the times,
Right? So how, just think of how many students hated that game just by the name of it, and then telling a new person, hey, we're going to play What You Got today.
It's true.
Yep.
Not the easiest game to play when timing is really key, for a lot of these internet-based circumstances.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm just gonna give one more nod in this one to Sarah. Sarah's almost. I don't say the word attitude like it's a bad thing. If I ever talk about attitude, I'm talking about in a performance sense. So Sarah's attitude this year is so strong. It almost, I mean, I'm just itching to see Sarah back on a stage.
Yeah.
Sarah's really got a niche right now. And this show is like big time Sarah. So,
You know, I've been saying it all year. Sarah's aura, her approach to everything has just been A, B, C, D, awesome. Like in order, hitting the notes, hitting the bars, and playing really good improv and having a swagger to it, which is great. I mean, swagger is part of the experience, and it's hard to replicate that when you're digital. So yeah, I'm not surprised that Sarah's really coming on strong as the season is coming to an end, and it's the right kid at the right time to catch fire. I'm scared of Desert Pines, man. I think they could punch anybody out of the park if they really put their mind to it.
I called them the three-headed giant last week, and Brittany is capable of doing good stuff. So Brittany's, I mean, still pretty brand new. It's hard to put her on that three-headed giant, but man, it's nice to be on the same team with one. So
Yeah.
Isaac, welcome to the league. And let's keep rocking.
Boom. It's the right time for Desert Pines to be hitting their stride. And they've been in stride for a minute. So watch out. Whoever draws them in the first round, take a deep breath and play your best. I kind of sort of hope it's not Del Sol. Let's see. Let's scratch another one off. I'm hitting my randomizer. And I think your notes are going to say Clark and El Dorado are next.
That would have been awesome, but nope. There they
Oh,
are.
well.
Yeah. Oh, well, we did good.
Hey, you know, how on earth could I have possibly known which one it would be? Or I mean, my phone, of course, my phone.
No stress. All right. So, El Dorado. This was the closest score of the week. As far as the competitiveness of the teams. If I'm starting with El Dorado, since I started like editing and scoring the show, there's a joke that has been ringing through my head, and they played a game of World's Worst, and the suggestion was sandwich makers. And Harley, I mean, first joke, Harley goes, "Man, I'm always the third wheel, just sandwiched in between my friends." And I don't know why that made me laugh so hard when I first
heard it. That's a good one.
But I've been thinking about it ever since.
Hey, wordplay for the win.
Yep. Yeah, they rocked that game of World's Worst. I thought that was their best of their lineup this week. And then they played an interesting version of director where Ronnie started off as the director, and by the end of it, Ronnie actually switched with one of the switched and let someone else take over as director because they were not seeing eye to eye, which I'm not sure if I've seen that yet in a game of director. But it was a good scene work, like a really good logical way to plug that in.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you know, that's a status flip, you know, and in a game like Director, you don't often see status flips. So that's a clever way of injecting that trope. Good job, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Ronnie Harley flip was, I mean, that's a veteran move, and that's what El Dorado is right now, is a bunch of veterans. So
yeah.
Flip over to Clark. The growth climb that they're going through just keeps shining every week. And I know Marlene was probably the first one this year so far for Clark that I was really like, hey, watch what Marlene's doing.
Right.
And it doesn't change at all this week. Same story on Marlene. However, I'd like to at least take a second on Mallow. Mallow ended up in the last spot for Survivor this week. And Mallow is truly in this sweet spot of improv where just having fun, just kind of going with it. The brain hasn't taken over yet of how do I do this really, like that nervous brain that takes over at a certain point of our experience. It's not there yet. Mallow's just doing it and having fun with it. And that's a great place to be. So, I had and I don't think he's going to mind me saying this, but Evan Hardy from Basic actually joined Clark this week and just was a fly on the wall there in the recording. So you actually get to see Evan play a little bit of 185 with him, but just wanted to hang out and listen and learn. And Evan said to me afterwards, like, it was so cool being a part of Team Love, which is who Clark is, that it actually reminded him that, oh yeah, this is all just supposed to be fun and not just so pressuresome of I better do this right and I better do that right, which was kind of cool to hear.
That's a neat lesson. Is that a precursor to Evan maybe finding his way back to the league when his career is done? I mean, he's a junior, right? He's got one more year, doesn't he?
Right. Well, and then, I mean, basic is that scene work, like they've got all that structure down. So it was cool for him to at least have that and breathe in that for a second.
My Del Sol student coach Haley from Basic, graduated from Basic, and probably, I'm glad that Evan
old
probably
teammates,
felt
right?
super comfortable. Yeah. So getting in to come in and see what Haley's doing with that team, and helping, Jarrell keep
Coach
that
Jarrell,
boat afloat. Yeah, it seems like they're doing a really good job of having a strong back half of the year, especially.
Let me make one more comment and then we can go to the next show. But Jenna got her second show for Clark. Jenna has, I believe this is Jenna's third year now, but Jenna's always had this really natural way of doing this. And this is unfortunately only Jenna's second show, but Jenna reminds me of Audrey Radiff, the old Northwest star, former MVP nominee. If I'm picking like maybe one of the best scene work performers we've ever had in the league, Audrey might be number one. Like, I mean, that's how good Audrey was. And Jenna has all of that capability. So it was super nice just to see just the smallest addition that Jenna gives really helps elevate what they do and allows us to go from A to B so smoothly. So basically what I'm saying, Jenna, is do more shows.
Do more shows. Run it back. Give it another go.
Yeah, you can
go around the block again.
For sure.
Rent the car, make the call. Let's do this. It's really fun to see Clark hitting a different point for them. I think as the back half of the season has come on, I also want to go ahead and say, don't sleep on them. I mean, I've seen some really funny stuff from some of their practices and shows, and I like Mallow's lack of awareness of what needs to be done and instead is just shooting from the hip. Love that. That's always going to have a puncher's chance in a comedy show. So enjoy watching them in the playoffs. They're probably going to make their first round matchup much more interesting than we could have thought earlier on. So it's really exciting to see where they're getting.
I just got a text from a coach and I passed it off to Song. So sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, look at that, guys. That's Kopy right there delegating your coaching questions. It's getting to the point where it's just too big for Kopy. So we have to embrace everybody now.
Yeah,
let's hit the randomizer.
Come on.
And ooh, boy, Shade Throne says my phone. And it also says Burkhart and Sierra Vista. One of our Monday shows. And this one on paper looks like a matchup of some serious heavyweights in the league, at least historically. What do you got for us?
So Sierra Vista's best show of the year so far.
That's what we always like to hear this time of the year.
Yep, absolutely. Well, especially when you get towards the end here. Yep. This was Suki's week. There was a different comfort in what Suki was doing. Carbon Copy stands out to me a lot with just the way that Suki exaggerated, and like it's in like if I'm standing here and I'm doing something where I'm bobbing my head and now we go to the second Carbon Copy, maybe I'm going to get more intense with it. That's not exactly what Suki did. Suki just added verbal and added story and just found a new way to just make it even more compelling and interesting. And what that does is that's comedy. Like that's such a good trick in Carbon Copy that I don't think gets used very often. And that's what Suki did. So loved that comfort. Viv, this was probably the most comfortable Viv has been this year too. And that's what you want. We just want Viv to be comfortable and just doing what Viv does because Viv's a giant.
Viv is a giant.
Yep. Rowan, you're definitely probably the rock this year for Sierra Vista. Maybe the most reliable, most consistent. I mean, Rowan, just don't change what you're doing. So yes, this was definitely Sierra Vista's best show so far this year.
Love it.
Burkhart, the stories just keep going for Burkhart. So they got together again, and this was classic onesies Burkhart. So we got all three.
Yay!
Yeah, we got all three girls in their onesies.
Oh boy.
They had so much extra film, like off games, that I wish I could use and just throw out there. But in all honesty, like I just can't keep posting funny, goofy things of Burkhart because that shows favoritism. I can't do it. But there's
Thanks for not being biased.
I'm just saying, like, there's a point where they're yelling at me in the video, telling me that if I don't post these extra funny videos, that I hate women.
Oh. Well, that's inappropriate leverage. Come on, guys.
I know. I just they've got so many like things like that. And
now, for the record, if we talk in the dating context, Kopy does hate women.
Thanks for bringing that into
no
this.
problem. Let's make it nice and public.
Yeah, let's move forward into some improv, shall we? So what I've been, it's hard for me to talk about Bailey without talking about Molly, and that's kind of been my Burkhart curse. And I think because this was the best evidence I could give, is because not only was it Bailey and Molly this week, it was Bailey, Molly, and Marley together.
Okay.
And they truly are friends. And if I don't know, I don't think I ever went into improv when I first learned with a friend. Like I went into it just kind of blind, like I was pushed into the room, and here I am now. Now I made a lot of new friends, but I didn't get to go into it with them. And that, I mean, those three just love each other. They even played a What Else You Got, a three-headed What Else You Got, where the three of them played it. Yeah,
that's fun. That's going to be a good rotation.
Yep, absolutely. They gave me like a 20-minute game-o-matic. Now, not all 20 minutes made it into the show because they took siestas in the middle of the game.
They took naps, straight up just laid down.
Well, yeah, I just mean like the break version of a siesta. Like it was just like, cool, here's the first part of it. Let's take a break. And then, all right, let's play the next part of it. Let's take a break.
And that's where their little extra games came in?
Oh, just, yeah, all over the place. So
that's funny.
Yeah,
they're just doing their own show at this point.
Yep, that's what Burkhart is. That's kind of what they've always been. They are their own tune for sure.
They have superseded their own format and created their own brand of comedy, the Burkhart brand. It's just a name, folks. Keep an eye out on them. As always, Marley is the smiling assassin in the league.
Right.
Yeah, that's not somebody you want across from you if you're here to take someone lightly. So have some fun in the playoffs, Burkhart. I'm excited for what you pull out. And let's see. It's got like that dial in. How about Northwest and Cimarron? Speaking of heavyweights, speaking of major heavyweights, Northwest.
Hey, we got another newbie in for Northwest. Lexi's first show.
Nice.
Now Lexi's been there all year, but if you think of your shyest teammate that you have on your team, Lexi's shyer. So this was just a gigantic victory getting Lexi in there. Lexi's so happy to see you. I saw that you were on the lineup sheet before the show was submitted. Immediate happiness. So Lexi, this is my official welcome to you for getting in your first show. And you were in great hands. So you've got veterans next to you, Erica and Isaiah. I mean, just good stuff all the way around in this one. I'll take it a step further and say, I think Liliana, who this is Liliana's first year, Liliana's a legit player too. Watching Liliana's comfort and perspective, like Liliana's already got perspective.
Okay.
Sometimes as a new player, like we don't know what that is yet. Liliana's already got it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So their game that stood out to me was Fortune Teller. This was probably the best setup for Fortune Teller that I've seen so far this year. Meaning the scene before the spirits come out. They did sorry, I'm not gonna be able to identify exactly what they did, but they did a Star Warsy kind of setup,
Okay.
like C-3PO or whatever his name is.
Oh, human cyborg
Yeah,
relations.
but it was very smart. It was very funny. Like they really did a good setup for it. So, um, yeah,
Fun.
they've got plenty of things to count their blessings on right now. And then you flip over to Cimarron. For me, this was the Althea show this week for Cimarron,
Sure.
which is not the first time we've said that.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, so Althea, just keep at that. Um,
Yeah.
you're at a point, Althea, where I think you can just start. Start bugging Justin, Coach Justin. Start bugging me. See what we can do to challenge you because of what you're capable of doing.
Yeah.
Um, so do that.
That seems fair.
They played Justin sometimes likes to surprise me and likes to play games that are just simple, just the simplest version, and then just likes to allow them to be funny.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. Like shift left dub, that's something Justin introduced to the league, but he also likes to just do shift left, which is four square with all the fun twists. He just likes to do
Right.
regular old standard shift left, or just dub. No languages, no nothing, just straight up dub. Those are just things that Justin likes to
Mm-hmm.
do. And they had a fun,
Mm-hmm.
solid, just regular version of dub. Um, my
A lot of
probably the, Go ahead.
I was just gonna say a lot of improv is at its funniest, honestly, when it's just a simple setup, when it's just a simple, easy, digestible, audience knows what's going on format, so you can break it and have a little fun. So I respect that. That makes sense.
Yep, for sure. Um, I think the one moment that stands out to me the most is they also played a game of Carbon Copy this week. And in the
Oh,
setup
cool.
scene, I have no idea if Fernando meant to do this, but Fernando in the setup scene made his character with a stutter.
Oh,
And
wow.
which immediately made me go, oh, okay, what are you going to do with that? And it was
Mm-hmm.
really fun to watch that stutter in the carbon copies. So just a really good,
I bet it
simple,
got pretty crazy.
yeah, a really good, simple idea that was translated multiple times over. Very clever, like Fernando, like good stuff for sure.
Good. And it sounds like good silliness there. I mean, stuttering is not something that's easy to pull off and make it seem not contrived. So as it
Right.
goes on, I'm sure it just got really fun and cartoony. So very
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
You ready for me to hit the randomizer?
Let's do it.
Ooh, how about Valley and Durango?
Valley
This
and
is
Durango. You said Valley and Durango, right?
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Valley, has been really picking up steam in recent weeks, and Durango's been a heat pump since the word go. So I bet this was a scintillating matchup, Kopy. I bet you
Yeah.
don't need notes. You could just pull it up right off the top of your bill there.
Yep. I don't really need notes. There were probably three shows in contention for show of the week, but this
Oh,
one
cool.
probably is the top of those three.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of notes. So Durango submitted their best show of the year, which is actually the highest score in the league so far for a show this year.
Yep. Yep.
And
Salute you, Durango.
they tried interesting games, interesting concepts. Without even breaking down every single choice they made, they played a game of Mrs./Mr. Know-It-All, which is an Emmy game. Like that's a game that Emmy introduced to the league because of Emmy's talents, and Emmy
Wow.
volunteered to step aside and gave it to Demetrius. So we got to see a game of Mr. Know-It-All where Demetrius ran that spot. And then Emmy got to play the challenges and the outside circle, and just
That's
cool.
awesome. That's
Like,
the definition of elevating your teammate. That's
yep.
literally the definition.
They played a game of Step Out Musical where they decided all to play instruments and improvise at the same time.
What? Of
So
course they're pulling that out. Holy cow.
they played the instruments you will see are violin, xylophone, bass guitar, regular guitar, and Beethoven. That's what you will see. Now, but what made that even better was that the songs they were singing were progressing the scenes. It's
Of
just
course.
too often we see someone break into a song and the song is just decorative and doesn't do much.
Right.
Every single song progressed the storyline and made you laugh. So yeah, solid.
That's as good as it gets, is
Yeah,
really what it
solid
sounds
stuff.
like. I don't know how you improve on that. Good for
Now,
them. Congrats, guys. What a nice, bold move. Go ahead. Sorry.
Valley didn't skip a beat either. So
Cool.
Valley keeps having these interesting concepts, and I mean, so he, so Aiden, who we've given our props to already, Aiden's a
Yes.
rookie this year. They played a game of phone booth where Aiden started the game with his camera flipped, so it wasn't on Aiden. Aiden was
Okay.
walking somewhere, like through a backyard or something.
Ooh.
And the whole Aiden's whole game was camera flipped, and trying to give perspective from the camera flip. So here I am thinking, what if all four of them did that? Because now my brain's like, oh my God, I want to try that now because of just what they do. Now that's not the perspective they took it from, but here's even cooler and better ways. So not only did their setup of the game work to where they pick up the phones, we watch them set up the phone booth, which everyone do that. But when they flipped booth to booth, you could literally watch the person who wasn't having the focus on their conversation still conversating. The space work of watching them go through their conversations, even though they weren't the focal booth, was still there. Oh my God, how simple, how smart. We all need to do that. How often do you say something to someone in a scene and then the person who's not in this conversation ends up just standing there and staring at the scene, and it's just a talking
Right.
I mean, so smart. Maddie and Kyla set up props basically on the sides of their cameras to make it seem like a phone booth.
Oh, yeah, sure. That makes sense.
So that they just fit in the frame of the phone booth. Just, I mean, that the brain power they're putting into these little things are enhancing what they're doing a ton.
Immersion, bringing that into it. I mean, it's especially hard to achieve immersion in this digital format. So experimenting with that and bringing some creative ideas is going to be how you bust through. And it sounds like that's a trend-setting version of the game. League might want to go back and check that out as we get ready to playoff, because that's what you're going to need to stand out this year.
Now, it's Monday right now. Me and you are recording on a Monday, and Valley is one of the only schools that works on Mondays. So I actually had a chance to drop in and talk to them already today, and give them some other notes. So there are a couple of these notes they might have heard, but just noteworthy, especially here in the recap. Stunt double had a fun flair to it. Coach Gio got involved in stunt double. They made
fun.
Isabella the stunt double. Isabella was everyone's stunt double, and Gio was the director, so to speak. And Gio was having his own little scene with Isabella. You're not the actor, you're just the stunt double. Cut it out. And just that little bit of banter just added, and then Isabella trying to react to it. It adds so much. Just that little tiny bit. As performers, though. Yeah, as performers, we can do all that as well. So, but Gio's an old vet and a pro. I think Maddie is probably the purest scene starter in the league. Maddie's ability to start scenes is, no one's doing it. No one's doing what Maddie's doing to start off scenes. They had a scene, I don't remember which game it was now, but Runaway Bride, where Maddie started the game way before Gio said, "Players, are you ready?" And then I had no idea what Kyla was doing opposite of Maddie. There's a body, I should have asked her today, but whatever body position Kyla was in, and I don't know if it was because Maddie was already going or what, but just there's magic there. Valley's got magic. So
cool. That's awesome. Another team, definitely another team. You know, it seems like week after week they've been taking a step up, climbing to this great place where confidence is at an all-time high, where decision making is coming from out of box places. And I mean, ironically, since they built phone booths this week, but kudos no matter what happens in the coming weeks for Valley, because it's really fun to see how much that program has been vitalized lately. Good for them. And kudos to Maddie for being named as such a heat pump for scene starting. I'm going to have to ask you what Runaway Bride is, because now I already want to go back, watch it, and try to copy.
Yeah, I forget it was the suggest. It wasn't a game called Runaway Bride. That was the
Okay, I was
suggestion
about to
for the
trick.
game.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Thank you for that. Also a great suggestion. So kudos to Coach from Durango there.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to say Katarina, which was bothering my brain. Thank you, Karina, for the creative suggestion. Sounds like fun. Go back and watch that one, guys, because again, Durango best game of the year so far, and Valley, they're ready for the playoffs. Like, trust us.
Sure.
So please go watch that. Let's scratch another one off. Hello, leave your message. It is Las Vegas and Secta, our other Monday show.
All righty. So let's start with Secta. Hey, guess what made it into the shows this week? Marshmallows made it in.
Oh, and that had to star Jordan and Jordan and Jordan.
Yep, and Jordan's teammates. But
I know. It's just such a Jordan format, I'm sure.
I mean, short of them like going and buying marshmallows or them coincidentally all having them, we got to see it this year. Lexi had the big ones, like the ones that are as big as your hand.
Yeah.
And Lexi totally got a third whistle and had to try and get a third. Like Lexi couldn't get the first one in, and just ridiculous.
I applaud the bravery. I applaud the toughness and the commitment, folks. That's an automatic 8 on commitment when you play marshmallows.
Yeah. Coach Ingalls sent me just a snapshot of marshmallows because I think they had fun with it. Yeah. It's a fun, like, it's not a game you're going to play all the time, but it's fun to do it once and laugh at. And, yeah.
Yep. It's a less deadly version of oxygen deprivation. So good on you guys.
Which we will never play in the league.
Please don't ever. Do not touch it. Thank you.
They played a game of interrogation where this is another joke that's kind of stood out in my head.
Okay.
Where they did 3 cops and Jordan as the criminal. And Jordan says to the cops, which are the 3 girls in this particular week, so Danica, Ava, and Lexi, says, "So what is this, good cop, bad cop?" And Danica, in her second show, shy and sweet, says, "No, it's more like good cop and good cop and good cop and bad person." And,
guess which one you are.
Danica, like, that's also, you're welcome to the league as well. So, really, cool. That's what I mean about perspective, everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, just when you just be yourself, how much value it adds to everything.
Yeah.
Danica, like, awesome.
Yeah.
And you were submerged by good talent around you. So Lexi's definitely emerged this year, and Ava's definitely a leader, 100%. Ava, it's so cool to see where you are right now. I remember when you were Danica, Ava. Like, I definitely remember it, and I knew it then. I knew what you could be, and here you are. And Jordan, man, I mean, we've been picking on you for too long. So, keep doing what you're doing.
Jordan's done a good job of playing leader over there, and I think it's finally starting to show in how much I would say Sec does. I'm not going to say that they're a better team than they've been historically, but I am going to say they're a smarter team than they've been historically, and that is a severe compliment. And it's another exciting story that this year has really brought out. They remind me of a team that has turned a specific corner mentally And kind of like Clark, I'm going to go ahead and say, like, they've run kind of similar paths this year. And it's really fun to see that they're hitting the stride going into playoffs. Again, like, I love these puncher teams who are like coming up from the bottom. Secta's definitely one of those. And I know Jordan's aching for a nice send off moment for himself. And he's done an amazing job helping that team as a whole. So let's see if he's going to get one. I can't wait. Week 1 is coming up. Are you ready?
Well, I've got to flip over to Las Vegas. So,
Oh, that's right. You haven't touched on Las Vegas. I felt like you had. My bad.
nope. So they played a game of family dinner with Anaya's.
Oh,
little,
yeah.
so
Cool.
Anaya's little brother told the story.
Mm.
First off, Anaya's little brother is the most well-mannered 11-year-old on the planet.
Aw, okay.
If you just want to feel good, watch Caleb describe his family. Just tell me about your mom. Tell me about your dad. Just the nicest, sweet, like, awesome. So I think Caleb only told them once all game that they weren't doing something right.
He just doesn't like to say no.
Yeah, and because it was about Anaya's family, Anaya being on the team, I think that gave the girls, it was the 4 girls again this week. I think that gave them extra fun because they clearly know each other and they
Mhm.
clearly are friends.
Mhm.
So that gave them all just some like, ooh, let's really play with this and let's see what we can do with it.
Yeah.
So I was happy, and of course Jen was Caleb, being maybe the shyest of the 4, and
Oh,
yeah, of course
yeah.
Jen was Caleb. I knew it right away. Like the look on her face, I was like, yep, that's Caleb. Um, I've been talking about Las Vegas in their past few weeks of their shows about how I can see their brains turning. Like they're
Mhm.
really applying thought to try and succeed and do well at this together.
Okay.
So Metzley is the most veteran of these 4 girls.
Mhm. And a
And
great anchor at that.
yeah, and Metzley has like she's had some strong players, and I mean she was with Ashley for a couple of years,
Right.
and
Sure.
a couple of years ago, man, was that Las Vegas team like a juggernaut with some of those teammates. And Metzley would probably argue and tell you she's probably on the shyer side.
Uh-huh.
But I've seen the not shy side of Metzley, and I've seen what she's capable of. So this seems to be the most committed, like intense version of Metzley I've seen,
Mhm.
which means we're getting really good Metzley. So
Good.
with what she's capable of. So
Yeah.
if you want to critique, or if Las Vegas, if you want something to kind of keep driving on, is Metzley keep that hunger side of you. So I know you're a senior, and obviously playoffs are here, or we're a week away. Like
Mhm.
you do awesome work. So it's time to just say goodbye to the shy side for a moment and just do what
Right.
we know you are capable of doing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
Anaya, you've been a beast. Jenna, you're so smart at this stuff. Um, I don't know where your full improv story has come, this being your first year, but you've got a brain for this stuff, and it's cool to watch you 4 girls really apply your brains. I know I've said this to you again, but I want the 4 of you to throw your chairs away.
Oh,
You
yeah.
capable of doing so many things. Throw your
Mhm.
chairs away, burn them, throw them outside. If you want Dave to pick them up from your houses, just leave them outside. He'll come by and DoorDash it and pick up your chairs.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it changes everything. It
Yep.
changes everything. So, yeah, rock and roll.
Pretty cool stuff. And that note to all, that you gave to Metzley for the seniors is a true one for many. I mean, should be for every senior out there. If you're gearing up for your playoff here in your senior year, I really sincerely hope that you just take a deep breath and push through any part of the no you have screaming in your brain, because this is your chance at long last to really take your shot. And apparently, it's got a really cool potential payoff on the other side of the rainbow. You're going to get to play in person in championship day. So drill for the gold you've got, and don't let anybody tell you no, most specifically yourself, because that's the one that really matters. Stop listening to the no. You can do it.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, seniors, we're at that point now. I mean, we got 1 week of the season left. We got playoffs. The unfortunate truth is, after the first run of the playoffs, half of our teams their season's going to be completely over, minus championship day, all stars, awards, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I know for me, I always get to this point in the year, and I immediately start going, man, I'm going to start missing these seniors. I know a lot of coaches are talking to me about that. Like, this one's going through it, being a coach of 3 teams. Like, it's,
Yeah, poor Song. Oh, dude, yeah, I'm sure. It's a tough year for me. You know, I've got my architects over at Del Sol who've given me so much. We get it. Everybody wants to see these seniors go up or go out with their chins held high. So make sure when it's your turn, you really gun it, guys. Just gun it. You deserve it. And we're all going to miss you guys after the first week. No one's going to walk out of here feeling or being labeled as a team that needs to hang their head. No one. I mean, just pump your accelerators and be proud of what you put out. And we're excited to see it for you, legitimately. Boop. In the tiki room, in the tiki room, where the improv starts and the coaches groom, in the tiki room. I don't groom. My beard is as wild as ever. We've got Arborview and LVA. Came up randomly.
There we are. Okay, so let's start with LVA. We got another stab at melodrama this week. Yep. We've talked the one other time someone tried it this year. We talked about how difficult that game is. And there was definitely comfort there. This year, Coach Tirza kind of migrated into LVA with Coach Cameron.
Super fun combo there.
Yep. Coach Cameron currently has COVID right now. Feel better, buddy.
Please.
Yep. But Tirza helped call everything this week for Cameron. And I know that's a game that Tirza has definitely worked on and has kind of got down and has a pattern to it. So watching Tirza call it, I was like, ooh, where is it? So the pacing was solid. The closing line, Sedona, that closing line was the best closing line for that scene for sure. Really good close to that. So happy for that. Sedona, I mean, that's a good comment too. Sedona seems to also be kind of that shy person on the team. But Sedona, you're so smart and so bright. And when you speak, there's so much value in what you say. So I don't know if you are like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong and you aren't the shy one, but I think you do come off that way a little bit. Like there is a shy side of you, which is kind of weird when you think of LVA and their big personalities of everyone that's around. So
true, good point.
That value's there, Sedona, for sure. So if you have a piece of shyness in you, I think you're amongst the family now. You are amongst the Jesters world. We want to hear more from you. So absolutely. Caroline,
cool.
I made a comment last week about Caroline and how I'm going to take her chair away forever. And when we get back in person, I'm not even going to let her sit on the side. I'm just going to only leave 3 chairs. I made that comment because I was joking last week about how big of a personality for a chair. But they recorded,
I believe it.
They recorded their week 7 show before the Just to Recap for 6 came out. So she proved my point again this week of how she's too big of a personality for that chair. The amount of time she popped up and down and sat down and popped up and just like, what's the point of sitting back down? Like, stop it.
Stay standing. You can do it.
And I got to talk to her about it in the coin toss this week. So because the coin toss was it was after the Just to Recap came out. So it was funny set of timing for how that worked this week. Also, probably the quickest chain murder I've ever seen done by LVA this week.
Whoa!
Which is not a bad thing
to do.
Yeah, not a bad thing, not an easy thing.
No, not. Chain murder is a tough game.
Yep, for sure. Flip over to Arborview. I think that something happened this week for Arborview that just made Arborview immediately dangerous. Uh,
Uh-oh.
yep,
Oh,
and that
no.
was 9 out of 10.
Oh, boy.
Keep talking about my duo over there that I just
Mhm.
love with Allison and Audrey, and they didn't
Yes.
leave anything behind this week. And they, Arborview, put this in your pocket, and if you want to challenge some teams, you play 9 out of 10. Like, wow, 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 wow.
Oh, boy. Sounds almost like the game of the week.
Yeah, almost. I mean, just wow. I just every challenge, every word, every position you had, every thought process. There was no, but I like straws or I don't like straws. I mean, just
Right.
solid stuff. Now flip this with CJ because CJ has been in a lot of their shows this year.
Mm-hmm.
CJ did it was in Switch interview where CJ did the setup of a character or an actor from the TV show Wild and Out,
Oh,
which
wow. Awesome. Fun.
yeah, which is an improv show.
Exactly.
And CJ started the interview that way, but the whole interview focused there to where CJ kept pulling out these names and references that I was like, wow, CJ, you are a legitimate fan of Wild and Out. Now, funny Kopy fact, I don't watch Wild and Out. I don't watch Whose Line Is It Anyway. As a kid, if Whose Line Is It
Interesting.
Anyway was on TV, my mom actually watched it. I would watch it if I'd walk through the living room, but I just don't. Which is weird. I know I spent my whole life doing this, and I just don't watch it. So
Interesting.
to hear
Because
to
you're a heck of a
hear
Drew Carey.
no, I know, and I used to have my old Drew Carey joke. You know that.
I do remember that, actually. That's a
Yeah, so
throwback.
I get it. I don't know. I don't find like the need in my heart to go and sit down and pound through those things. I do have very strong opinions about the performers and what they do and how they do it. Um,
Sure.
that's the whole different artistic conversation.
Mm.
But it's really cool to hear that CJ's a first year or his first year for us, but a senior, of course. To hear that someone's really invested in that, and then to translate
Yeah.
over, which also goes into that 9 out of 10 I was talking about. Danny, this was your
Mm.
first show. Danny, I don't. I might be wrong, and I want to clarify with Ariel, but Danny, in this time of the year, we don't get people who join the team late, like this late and then make it into shows. This may have been Danny's second practice or something, like legitimately.
Ooh.
And then boom,
Awesome.
in the show, and I support that fully. Just I want everyone
Cool.
to know if someone walks into off the street into your team in week 7 or 8 and you want to give them a shot, fully support it. Danny, so welcome to
Sure.
the league. Danny, don't go anywhere. Clearly, you are funny. I loved your plushy stick up game with the plushy thing. Like, loved it. What was it? Inner monologue? Inner monologue. So, Danny, don't go anywhere because you've got some juggernauts next to you. And 9 out of 10 clearly is your game, guys. Clearly.
Whew. Sounds like the game. If you've only got 3 minutes to do some homework this week, kids, on improv as you get prepped for the final week of the season, you are going to go check out that 9 out of 10. Please do so. I know I am as soon as this talk is over. And beep. Backstreet's back. All right. The randomization music is truly random. How about Cheyenne and Wildcard?
There we go. Cool. So the wild card team this week was a team of bearded coaches.
Oh, oh boy. You clean shaven suckers are in trouble now.
Yeah, I just wanted to I wanted to give a wild card team to coaches, just coaches, and I just thought it'd be fun
Is
to
this the
see
only one you did?
This is the only coaches one we did, yeah. Um,
Interesting. I didn't realize that.
yeah, and we just added a fun little silly theme to it with bearded coaches. So there's 3 actual bearded coaches, and then Coach Ariel, who we were just talking about. She obviously doesn't have a beard, but totally rocked a beard for the whole show.
Yep. Which was
Um,
charming.
yep. And Warren, of course, was a part of that. And
Thanks, guys.
they got to film that together in person. And
Yeah, that was wild.
I mean, you guys filmed that a couple months ago, right?
We did. Yes, time has
Yeah.
passed. Yeah, and we were. It was Jarrell, myself, Noah as well as the
Right.
Beards, and what a fun. What a fun energy to feel again, being in person and goofing around after all the Jester previews we did. It was nice to feel loose and excited to play. So hopefully that translated. Let us know.
Well, yeah, and here, I mean, some cool notes I think to throw out there for anyone who wants to study or look at things. There's definitely some examples here that I think are worthwhile checking out. So they got to do a two heads, one brain together, where Warren and Jarrell, Coach Warren and Coach Jarrell, I mean, did the most awkward two heads ever.
When you've got one shot, sir, you shoot it.
Yeah, exactly. But funny, like also funny. And then on the other side, Noah and Ariel did the one brain, and a really good example of the one brain. Now, this was a game that I thought just wouldn't work online initially.
Right.
Like if you were asking me to make a list, that is a game I wouldn't have put on there. And we've
Right.
seen it a few times, even once this
Yeah.
week, which is awesome. So here's just a decent example for us to go back and look at and go, oh, okay, now I fully get it, to where we can continue and keep trying that game. I think Fortune Teller and Press Conference is what Wildcard did, which is also two more games that I think are really worthwhile checking out. Warren's ability to use gibberish in his pantomime is what the whole league needs to see. The whole league needs to understand how you can make your pantomime better simply by how you communicate with your gibberish. Now, Noah worked with you on that, but Warren comes from a little bit of an older school of the Just Serendipity family, to where pantomime was like, that's what we did, right? Like that was our bread and butter. Sometimes our scenes would be awful, but pantomime would always kill it, right? So Warren
At least you kind of know where we are.
Right. So just know that that's kind of where Warren comes from. So that's where you're going to get those good examples. So check that out. Press Conference 2. If you just want to see characters creating questions and there's comedy behind the characters, guys, it's not about what questions you ask and about guessing it right. I never want you to guess it right. I want you to have fun, be characters, create funny moments that we can remember. The questions and the guessing it right doesn't mean anything.
Yes, big yes.
So yeah, some good examples there to watch from our wildcard team. And I'm so happy Cheyenne was on the other side of that, because Cheyenne has clearly made a statement. I've been talking about it now for weeks. There was a game of, I think it was Inner Monologue, where Kimura was, I don't remember if Kimura was in her monologue or if it was just, there was a point during the scene where Kimura was on a rant, where logically that could have been a monologue, and Susan could not stop laughing. Susan was in and out of her camera, just could not keep it together. That is kind of the magic that they have right now, is that's what they're doing to each other. They're Jeopardy characters. Their dating app. This is the second time they've done dating app, and they are so ridiculous. It's really nice for me to watch DJ, who has the most experience out of this group right now, to be this comfortable and to execute at this high of a level after going through the number of years and the changes DJ has gone through with the teams. Like it's almost like teary-eyed for me at this point to see that comfort from DJ. And I'm trying to hold it back, actually. Nope. I will remember you. Little Hot Cheeto, you've given us so much. I'm so happy in your senior year in this really weird year that we're having with COVID and being online, that you have found this home that you have with Cheyenne right now. So with Coach Miley, who of course I love and adore, who's family to me, like it's so nice to see the four of you go for it. Every week I think I've kind of given the nod to someone new. All four of you have gotten the week. I think this week was Kimura's week, which means that this is definitely Kimura's second week that you've gotten the nod. Just good stuff, guys. I mean, Cheyenne, don't stop. I'm so excited for playoffs for you, for what you can do.
Yeah. You know, it's getting harder and harder not to fall in love with these teams individually. We're seeing more and more schools inject themselves in a way that's creative, fun, new. All these perspectives are really starting to solidify, which is a gift, because in digital improv land, there's a lot of room for failure, and you guys have done an amazing job of battling that wave. But more importantly, it's going to make that first week of playoffs maybe the hardest yet, because of all the work you guys have put in to have it happen at all this year. But Cheyenne, I don't know, man. I don't see them having a hard first week. So bring your best game if you're matched up with Champion. Yeah. Kopy had a little stutter and on this side. I'm hoping we won't have any further problems, but just a fair warning. I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity to hit my randomizer. I'm glad we had a good show, guys. Always an honor to play, but certainly it was fun to get matched up with Cheyenne. They are a really great story this year. And once again, Coach Miley, I just love what she brings to her schools. So what a great voice for them. Beep, 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 beep. Green Valley and Spring Valley, aisle 3. What do we got?
You got to help a little bit with this show this week.
Maybe I did. I don't recall.
Green Valley. Yeah.
So yep, I was there, and it was great. Again, Cameron, hope you feel better, buddy.
This was probably one of my biggest shockers, was to see Bartender as a head-to-head agreed team choice where both teams played it. Right.
Right.
I never would have predicted that ever. Like if 20 years from now, I'd say in the next 20 years, it's never going to happen. And it happened. Bartender is a singing game. And you can kind of cut up the game to play it however you like, but it is a singing game. And we got to see both teams do it. Riley from Green Valley. And you know what? I guess I have to talk about both teams now, right? Or no, let's start with Green Valley. Then I'll talk about Spring Valley. Okay. Riley got to be the bartender for Green Valley, and Riley, I mean, even just apart from this game, Riley is super special. There is something very unique about Riley that I'm so mad it took us this long to find you, or for you to find us. Yeah.
I told Kiana you'd be devastated to learn Riley's a senior.
Oh yeah. Bummer. And I'm pretty mad about it. Like, I don't know if I've ever been so mad.
Kopy's in the big sad, everybody.
Yeah, Riley, just know how mad I am about it. What you bring and what you are able to do, like, there's just something so natural about you. And that's what we want. Basically, you are the example of why we want people to just be themselves, because of just who we are as people is what makes the world go round. If we were all the same, then this would be one boring world, and Jesters wouldn't exist.
Correct.
So Riley, watching you play bartender was awesome. You actually have some really natural rhyming skills, which go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Kiana came in to sing with you at the end, which was an awesome twist at the end of bartender. So like, bravo, like really, really good. Late for work, Aaliyah, I think each week this year you have just been improving and adding more, and giving your team something good to digest and use and progress. I mean, Isabella, I mean, we need to talk more about what you're capable of. I think in the recaps, we could totally talk about your accents and your character choices, and just these little gems that you keep throwing on top of these scenes. I mean, you've had strong players and strong things to talk about over the years. This is probably the best Green Valley teams probably since the Isaac days.
Wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
Glad to hear. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, kind of cool, really cool to see. Now flip over to Spring Valley. Spring Valley has been one of the pleasant surprises this year as well.
Yes.
Now, you know, if I'm thinking bartender, because they also played it, you know, Nicole's the natural choice, maybe, right?
I know who went bartender. I feel it.
But then Nicole's not the one who did it. Then
exactly.
I go Gordon, right? Gordon's
Nah.
the guy.
You haven't said who I know it was. I know who it was.
Right? And then boom, M did it.
Yes.
So, I wasn't ready for that, and how powerful M is. Like, wow. And just you sang it and you sang it out and you didn't hold it back. There was a lot of times when we improvise sing, we don't use our full voices. We do this thing where I'm singing, but I'm singing to myself, and I want to sing more than to myself. And that's the way we improvise sing. But now here I'm talking, you can hear that I'm talking with my full voice, right?
Right.
Rather than singing with the voice that I was given, that's what M did.
Love to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. So super happy about that. But Spring Valley's probably been one of the most consistent teams this year, where everything they're doing has value. Kevin, I know we've talked about your Elmo this year, and you pulled Elmo out and which immediately like stuttered M because M started laughing at it. So like, good job, Kevin. That was a really appropriate moment to pull that out. Yeah, really solid. Gordon, again, you keep showing me little flashes of these new little things. I want more. Don't show me little flashes. Show me fireworks. Like, you're also another 4-year senior, close to my heart. You've got a home for life here, Gordon. You can stay and be a part of this and come back and visit anytime you want. Leave it all out on stage, dude. So take consistency and this power you got. Gordon, this is probably your strongest team you've been a part of in your 4 years. So go rock these playoffs, dude.
That division is pretty nasty. If you really think about it, that's a nasty division. You got Spring Valley, Green Valley, Del Sol, and sorry, I spaced on the fourth one. ATEC, right? ATEC's in that. Whew, scary.
Yeah, the divisions aren't as clear in my brain anymore because it's not cut off sectionally by town. It was just kind of the fun split. Yeah. COVID and whatnot.
Ever since week 1, I had my eye on M for sure. I recognize how much brain power is there. And with a Nicole who's shooting from the gut, a Gordon who's definitely bringing him and really heightening what that means. Yeah, man, I wouldn't sleep nearly at all on that Spring Valley team. Congrats. Hey, Coach Son, poke your head in. Can you do that, little Coach Son? Congrats for what you've done with Spring Valley. It's fun to watch them play improv. It's great stuff.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, no, that's Noah.
Right there.
That's Noah. My bad. Never mind. I just want to talk to Son. I miss you, Son.
Not Noah anymore.
It's okay. I don't mind.
Noah, you look.
I like giving love to Song anyway. 3 schools is a lot, but I'm not nearly as embarrassed as I should be. Next finally is Desert Oasis and West Tech. I don't have to hit the randomizer, which is lucky for you guys because I don't have to use my full singing voice anymore. How did they do this week? Oh, that's a Song team. Kudos to what you've done with West Tech, Song. I guess I could have waited till after the critique. Just said, oh well.
Oh, thank you.
Go for it.
Let's start with Desert Oasis. I had a chance to chat with Sam a little bit over the past couple of weeks, and also give Sam an opportunity to kind of drop in with another team and see some more things, some more perspective.
Sure.
Good. I know that hunger train is a pumping over at DO. As far as trying to understand, and the relationships are strong over there right now, and just there's lots of positivity there. So we got to get Abby as their captain this week, which is cool because Abby is probably the most different of that team. And I've talked to Corey about this. The rest of the DO team kind of shares this energy that's very similar amongst them with their own personalities. Melissa's totally just kind of this funky, like Melissa's definitely born in the wrong era. Like Melissa's from like 20, 30 years ago at least. So everyone's kind of got this.
I can vibe with that.
Yeah, they've kind of got all this fun energy, and Abby is just so different, which makes Abby insanely important. Like really crucial to what Desert Oasis can do because of how different you are. So it's just time to recognize that and embrace it, and what can we do to just enhance it, highlight it, and do more with it. So Abby, I want you to know how important you are to this DO team right now. And I think Corey maybe even have brought that up and talked about it, about how you can incorporate more of your personality for how important you are. So Abby, just know eyes are on you, and what you can do and how you can provide it. So yeah, I know DO is hungry to just keep putting out good work and to keep doing more. And that's all of them. Like that's the blanket right now. Know that to me, that is the secret talent dust. What did I say? Talent dust?
Talent dust. Yeah, we'll take it.
That's the secret ingredient right now to really help DO take another step is Abby.
Ooh.
Abby's your secret ingredient right now. So,
Yeah. And then West Tech.
Yeah, flipping over to West Tech. This was West Tech's strongest performance this year. Got their best score.
Love it.
West Tech's another just big team where they've got a lot of students that can work in. Tabs worked in this week. She wasn't a part of the 4, but even in just the small work-ins where Tabs plays a part in a game, you can see it. Tabs, you're going to be really happy with the way you finish your year as a senior. So keep doing that. Tabs hosted a game. Tabs hosted a game. It was Jeopardy, which reminded me a lot of Del Sol's Jeopardy from a week or so ago, with a really strong host, which is really hard to do.
Tabs would be a so good host, right? I mean, Tabs has a podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's about Jesters. It's called Players Are You Ready? So I'm going to plug that every time Tabs comes up. And Tabs could totally host. That's so true. Very cool to hear.
But Tabs isn't the story this week. The story is the 4 players that all were definitely better versions of what they've already done this year. So Nazi kind of at least started the year with some shyness, or at least not like a full dose of it. So Nazi had some real strong strength in this. I loved seeing Nazi fly across the screen in carbon copy, but I mean, that path was set definitely by Maddie with your weird glub fish. Carbon copy was a solid example of how to play carbon copy for sure. Iago was a part of the team last year, but didn't play at all. I think Iago did Iago's first show this year, and then maybe got a taste of, oh, I can do this. Like, sure, this was fun. And immediately in that show, I was just like, yeah, Iago, like, shame on you for waiting so long. Like, you are funny and good at this. So I think Iago now this week, like what I talked about with Mallow at Clark about just the sweet spot of I'm good at, like, I'm funny, like I'm just gonna have some fun with this.
Good,
like,
but not yet aware.
Yeah, exactly. Which is sometimes the best place to be.
Sure, it's like
so
a girl who
Iago,
doesn't know she's pretty.
Ashley, one of the twins. I'm gonna give you the nod this week. In my personal nod for West Tech. Just really solid choices all the way around. I know when it comes to twins, sometimes it's hard for people just to differentiate which twin is what, but I feel like I know you two so well right now about what is different about you and what you can do. Honestly, it's always been a point of pride for me to try and differentiate twins. I will make an extra effort, but you're making it really easy on me, like really easy. So I like when we saw you in a show together. I like when I've seen you separately. I'm just really happy where that progression's at. Oh, and then last note, they played a game of dueling movie trailers.
Oh.
When was the last time you saw that, Warren?
Oh man, we're talking at least 5 years.
Minimum. Yeah. Dueling movie trailers has lots of layers of complexity. And for them, they kind of just played it on a whim without practice kind of scenario.
Oh man, wow. What a brave choice.
And it was cool. It was definitely really cool to see. I think they made the right choices, who was playing what spots. I know Maddie was pretty critical of herself of the trailers, but they were good. I don't know what she was freaking out about. To watch Ashley and Maddie play those trailers together with a little bit of Tabs drops on there. Like the notes that I would give to a first-time team playing it, they kind of did them.
Oh,
So like,
cool.
yeah, we can't argue about that. Really cool to see
Right.
that game make it into the league.
So it sounds like this show especially is a wonderful underlying message of like viva la différence. Like it's super important, you guys, to remember that improv is a sport of acceptance. It's a sport of unifying pieces that you can't pre-plan. You know, all you know is one another. So embrace who and all of who you are together. As you get into the playoffs, note all the little ways you observe, oh, he always does this when somebody blanks, or this person always says something along these lines. You know, that now all the research you've done and the chemistry you've developed within your team is going to sing because of the little differences. So celebrate them. I hope you're not out there looking at your teammates going, it bugs me when blank. Just don't do that. Accept each other for what you bring to the table as thoroughly as you can, because now it's going to count and it's going to matter and it's going to be fun. Well, there goes my throwaway speech.
Song caught me up on where she's at on work, so
No worries. That's okay. You can always tune out of Warren.
Sorry.
No worries. Let's rock and roll into our next segment. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bam. Let's go. So we have props, you see, props that have become incredibly present in our improv as the weeks have gone on because, hey, digital improv means we can use the stuff in our bedrooms to enhance our scenes and stories. But in the context of this conversation, props are the scenes, the teams, the circumstances and scenarios that make watching improv just a little bit more fun from week in and week out. Kopy gives out 3 every week. And so I got to ask, Kopy, who earns your props this week? Number 1.
I think all 3 of these props have really deep-rooted reasons why they're the props this week. So
Cool.
I want to try and at least digest all of those reasons for you. I'm going to start with Savannah from ATEC. I'm definitely going to give Savannah the prop this week. There is something really magical about an ability to connect with someone that allows other people to blossom. And every MVP needs a part. Like there's no MVP who's won who didn't have someone behind them. I just want you all to
Totally true.
So Jonathan gets a lot of praise and love and recognition, but I think Savannah truly is just a part of that fuel. And I mean, Savannah doesn't necessarily have to say the funniest joke in every show. The value that Savannah gives is what really helps ATEC. And this week was just a gigantic, glaring reason why. Also think of it this way, like just sometimes we don't click with friends or relationships. How many people do you know like that they're just pure, you love them as individuals, but for whatever reason they had a relationship in their life that just didn't work. Like,
oh geez,
right?
Who do I not know like that?
Exactly. So just sometimes some combinations don't work, and then sometimes some combinations do. So this is such a good combination between the two of them. But
Good.
for me, I mean, Jonathan isn't as strong as Jonathan is without Savannah, and Savannah honestly doesn't need Jonathan to stand on her own 2 feet. So yeah,
Good to hear.
Savannah, like really good work. I'm happy you got to show it off this week a little bit.
You know, you always comment on Audrey Radoff and how much she really laid down the gauntlet to MVP candidates who are actually just great teammates, really great teammates. If you've got somebody next to you who is creating on a massive level, the best thing you can do is make them look even bigger by accepting and heightening what they're doing. Put a magnifying glass on them by understanding that what they're doing is so different and unique that you just want to ride that. And sometimes that's all you got to do. If you got somebody creating on that level next to you, you can be just as great by just making them look better. So good lessons there. Prop number 2.
Back when we were talking about Valley, I talked about Maddie's initiative to create scenes, which is just this really weird skill. I break improvisers down into 2 categories: initiators and yes-anders. I am naturally a yes-ander. I know,
Okay.
like I know that. I know
Sure.
that's where I sit. Initiators are a lot harder to come by. And to watch Maddie in that show with Durango, who you've got your reigning MVP, your 2-time nominated MVP teammate, Emmy, like you've got a juggernaut across the way. To watch that kind of blend, it's just like, wow, you're truly an initiator. Like
Mm-hmm.
every idea you come up with is allowing everything to just fly. And you need that. You need that. So league, whenever I say this all the time, I'll repeat myself to I'm blue in the face. When you get a suggestion and your suggestion is firefighter, what is the last thing that you want to do when you start the scene?
Oh, you want to go straight to the fire.
That's the last thing you want to do.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you want to build to it.
But still, how often is that the first thing you see?
Oh God, fire! Oh well, there goes all the drama.
Right. So I even had a chance to ask Maddie about it, and Maddie says that she just doesn't think. Like she doesn't go, like the scene is almost not in her head. It's more about what am I going to do to create the weirdest way to start this scene. So body positioning, facial expressions, voice accents, just how can I just do something new now? And then we'll figure it all out as we go.
You know, that's a brilliant thing. I mean, I'm just want to say something super quick if I can. Maddie's probably seen more improv than we want to shake a stick at. And that's a wonderful impulse to have is how do I stand out from every other thing I've ever seen? That's a really long Rolodex for Maddie. Proof, friends, that watching improv will help you.
Yes.
Because just knowing what other folks did to start their scenes, and trust me, Maddie's seen more than all of us, maybe, like that's going to help you know what's different. And simply knowing what's different can be humongous. Absolutely humongous. So cool. Good.
To piggyback that, we at a professional standpoint, we had a model who was working for our professional show for Just Serendipity, who's just sat around for a couple of years, just as a model, and kind of had a chance to step in there and be goofy one night and blew all of our brains. Blew our brains simply from sitting around and watching, and then started being able to perform at a professional level from that point. And that's just from observation.
When we say watch shows, it's not because we want to waste your time and because we want to show off what we're doing. It's because we know that if you want to be better, simply extending that Rolodex of things you've seen will make you so much better, because you'll know how you can heighten somebody else's idea from that Rolodex. So go watch improv. It's so much fun anyway.
And it's hard. Like I know that this was probably going to happen at some point based on the work that was being done, but it's hard not to give the whole third prop to Durango this week.
Sure.
Yep. This has to be the week. And I know Josh from Durango got a prop earlier this year. Josh wasn't even in this show.
Right.
I mean, that's
kudos to their depth.
It's what I have to say about this week. All of Emmy's choices, letting Demetrius have some shine, the braveness of pulling instruments in. I mean, that was all you guys. I mean, your Inception was the highest scored game of the year. Everything you did this week, even your first line, last line ended with you guys integrating the scenes and the storylines, and you were in two different time eras. You started in one scene was in the 1800s or something, and you somehow combined them to exist together. So yeah, Durango for sure has to get prop 3.
Oh boy, Durango. In case you guys haven't caught on, there's something about this Durango team that's mighty fierce, even in digital land. So watch more Durango as you get ready for playoffs. As I just said, knowing what they're up to will make you a better team, and that might be important if Durango's across from you this playoff. Just saying, this is just what I'm inferring. Beautiful. Great props, Kopy. Great job, League. It seems like these props are getting more and more full-figured and easier to justify. So speaking of justification, let me justify us into our next segment. You see, I'm spacing what it is.
Question. Challenge.
Is that really it? No, it's Kopy's challenge. That's it. See, that's a moment. I apologize. It must be the spirits in this old house that are getting to my old noggin. But let's see exactly how we can improve as a league, even more so than we've already reiterated. We've got one more week left to get ready for the playoffs. And so we want to make sure we're as good as we're going to get. Kopy, how can we do that with our last week of improv before it all counts?
This is all going to happen really fast. Just know that, league. Week 8, playoffs, bracket, first round, judging. This is all going to hit you guys like a ton of bricks. Oh, by the way, spring break is in 2 weeks. By the way, you all go back to school next week, or half of you go back to school next week, half of you after spring break. So, I mean, just know how quick this is going to hit. My best advice I can give you, knowing how quick this is going to hit, is every single one of you, please ask your coach a question about yourself.
Ooh.
Ask your coach something about you and your performance and some perspective that they can offer you that could help you with this next step, with these playoffs. I promise you, just you asking those questions will open up some kind of door that you didn't realize was already there. Your coaches, and I'm talking to 2 coaches that are sitting right with me right now, that know 2 things that I'm going to say are really true. One, they've got players on their teams that have never asked a question about what they could do to improve. And 2, that question will teach you something, and it will teach your coach something.
So true.
So 100%, that question is only going to make us better. But I understand the fear in asking that question. What if I don't like what I hear? What if they tell me I'm awful? There's all these questions that are going to stop you. Know that none of that will ever happen.
Yeah.
This is not the place.
Our job.
Yeah. This is not the place. This isn't football. This isn't basketball. If you can't slam dunk, you're not going to make it onto the court. Like, that's not this world. That is not this sport.
No.
Everything you have is valuable and will help. And your coaches will tell you that.
Remember, guys, we teach an entire sport around accepting one another and whatever comes out of your mouths. So your coaches are going to accept you too. And they're really going to appreciate that you want to try to understand how you can improve from their perspective. And trust me, regardless of our experience levels, we've all got perspective for you. So definitely ask those questions and don't be afraid, because sometimes coaches are afraid. They don't want to like scare you off because they just want you to come play and feel safe and be excited. But as long as we know that you're open-minded to the larger lessons of this art form, we will unload on you. So come and ask. My Del Sol kids never ask me for feedback. I promise, not once.
These 2 will talk to you all day. Just
true.
Your coaches totally will talk to you.
Son sings an amazing song of how to improve, and I grunt it.
And I know I've put it out there too this year that if you want feedback from me, I will be glad. I just know that my feedback is going to be from just kind of a slanted perspective. So I will gladly talk to all of you. Just, my experience is not as much as your coaches.
And these recaps have been really grown into some proof that we can all get a little better about sharing our perspectives on this because of how much you guys have asked for feedback from Kopy. So remember, we all have learned from Kopy, whether it be by example or by simply the years of commitment we've had into this. So just know that we're ready to take those questions. And if we're not, then tell Kopy, because this is all about improving us. So lovely, Kopy. Great challenge. I've only got one more query. And you know what? I feel so stupid for many things tonight, whether it be forgetting who the coach of Sierra or Spring Valley was, or maybe even forgetting about the Kopy's challenge. But there's even one more thing that makes me feel even stupider. And that's that I've never asked you, Kopy, how do you define funny? What is funny to Kopy? Who are your influences? What makes you chuckle on in your tum-tum? Tell us once and for all, what is funny to Kopy?
That's a loaded question.
Try me.
Well, okay. So my tum-tum which is I said a second ago that I'm a yes-ander. So if you put the ball in my court, I am going to try and slam dunk it. Like that
Oh
is
joy, here we go.
like that is my way of as a performer. So I don't know if I'm married to the funny as much as I'm married to good work, a story, entertainment, something that catches an audience's eye. I have this strong belief in my soul that if I'm on stage, that I can reach every single person in a room that's in front of me. Okay, so that
As
is
you
where
should. As you
that's
should.
where I come from. So on the comedic side of me, uh, I've always believed that if I'm in the comedic role, that I'm going to push to a level to make everyone in this room laugh. I don't have the mindset of, I hear a lot of stand-up comics that have the mindset of sometimes my jokes just don't work or people don't like my jokes. I will never have that mindset ever, 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 ever. Now, I do think this league as a whole, we don't always get to that point. We don't always get to the point of what am I doing that is allowing this audience to enjoy what I'm doing? Because that's a really advanced notion. But that's me. I'm definitely more about the story, more about the pageantry, more about something that makes us feel good. And a lot of times comedy does make us feel good. That is the top of the pyramid sometimes of what does make us feel good. So, but then when you say like inspirations and that kind of thing,
I have to ask, who do you emulate when you have to play that role? I think it's a fair thing for us to learn about you.
because I'm an improviser, it's a little different because I don't have like any aspirations of doing stand-up comedy. But I think we automatically think stand-up comics when we say, who's funny to you? I really, really wanted to see George Carlin before he passed away, and I didn't get that chance. I had a chance to see Don Rickles, and I don't think Don Rickles is necessarily the top of my list, but I jumped on that chance before he passed away, which I'm so happy about. If I had to pay money right now, it's probably Chris Rock I want to go see, Dave Chappelle.
Ooh, okay.
Like those are definitely my top two on my list I want to go see now.
Okay.
I think because there's more to them than just their comedy. I mean, who's
There's an
hotter
aura.
right now? Yeah, who's hotter right now that has a bigger effect when they speak than Dave Chappelle?
Well, we could have a separate conversation about that, but for those of us who are watching and aren't necessarily familiar with the George Carlin kids, we're talking about somebody who knows the English language first. So go back and learn maybe vocabulary and understand the wordplay, because that's what Carlin excelled at. But also ask your parents first before watching anything Carlin, because he's quite filthy.
Actually, watch anything of any of the three people I just mentioned, or four. Yeah, I mean all of them pretty filthy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So ask before all, but Carlin was infamous for being able to say a curse word while still making it seem like he was just talking about the news. Quite legendary. Don Rickles was an insult comic. You may notice every time I make Kopy chuckle, it's only because I directly personally attack him. So insult comics are so excited to make you feel stupid about who you are. Dave Chappelle, I mean, I don't need to go there. He's a storyteller. Chris Rock is loud, so certainly volume might help a little bit. If you've ever been self-conscious about your volume, I can tell you loudness works occasionally, as long as it's intelligent loud. But those are just some cool notes, guys. If you've never watched them, please understand that comedy is a very subjective art form, and everybody's going to have a different answer. But what works for Kopy can definitely help those disappointed judges who are looking at their scores thinking, what the heck? That was textbook Mulaney or Myers or whomever you might emulate. So
which are
yeah,
all
thanks for
good.
sharing, Kopy. What a silly question. I've never asked, but I think we wanted to hear it. So
But
I don't know, man. That
here to
looks
throw
like you
this
froze on the other side. So I'm just talking to
froze.
myself. I'm gonna wish you guys all well. Heard me when I said all this stuff. And if I
Oh, there you are.
good. Where did I cut out?
You froze on my side, but I heard every word you said.
Oh, that's a blessing. So hopefully the audience did too.
To close your part off, because stand-up comedy is definitely very different from improv. If I translate it over into
100%.
yeah, if I translate it over into like an actor in movies and whatnot, like a Ryan Reynolds, probably speaks to our world a lot, right? I mean, even Deadpool.
Sarcastic, dry.
Yeah. I mean, Deadpool is such to me, for me, what he did with Deadpool just kind of changed the game all the way around. It's just because of who he is as a comedian, as a performer.
Yeah.
Steve Martin had a quote, and this is a great quote. This Steve Martin quote makes me think of Robin Williams and a lot of good, really strong comedic actors. Is Steve Martin's quote, and I'm probably going to mess this up. Is he says there's a difference between a comedian and someone who acts funny. A comedian is someone who tells jokes. Someone who acts funny is someone who can do things funny. Or I'm saying it wrong, but I hope you understand my gist. A comedian tells jokes. Someone who is a comedic actor is someone who can do things that are funny. And that's what Steve Martin was. Steve Martin was a guy who could do things that were funny, who also had a big career in stand-up before he got into acting.
Steve Martin reminds me of Emmy, just to throw that out there. I just made that connection just now. Emmy and Steve Martin are similar because, man, does Steve Martin transform into a different persona in amazing fashion when he's performing. And he's maybe the only comic you've mentioned in the last 5 minutes that I don't think you do have to ask your parents too much explicit permission to look up some old stuff, especially his musical improv and performance. A lot of that stuff is made up on the spot in front of his audience. And that is mind-blowing. So really good stuff from you, Kopy. Thanks for sharing your perspective. Guys, that's a lot of cool stuff you can go dig up, again, with parental permission for language. But I'm going to go ahead and close this out. It's been a wonderful recap of week 7 from my haunted house here in Redlands. I can't wait till week 8 as we say goodbye to the games that don't matter, and also from the whole league. You know, I mean, it's just a wonderful thing to know that we've all gotten here. And before long, we'll be back in schools and we'll be rocking it like we have on stage. And that's an exciting thing. So please get ready for that opportunity. Make sure your school is the one that's contending for it. You deserve it. All of you do. And we will look forward to week 8, your last chance to practice for that opportunity before it all starts to count. So from all of the spirits here at the Redlands house, this has been Warren Sprague. That was Kopy Kopatic. On the other side, that's a coach song of West Tech, Sierra Vista, and A-Tech, because I know my stuff. I just justify it. So thanks, everybody, and have a fantastic night. We'll see you in week 8. Well,